Yo, I'm Colin.
I'm Narika.
And this is
The Bench World Cup edition. We're back again, bringing you updates and post-match previews of the 5 African teams in the World Cup. And today, well, by the time you're watching it, what would have happened would... Oh man, I have to start again, don't we?
You don't have to. World Cup's in the background. Don't worry. Don't worry.
And by the time this video has come out, Tunisia played their first World Cup game, well, first 2022 Qatar FIFA World Cup game against Denmark. Exciting times.
Yeah.
Exciting times. So the Carthage Eagles, they're from North Africa, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
North Africa, find themselves in Group D with Denmark, Australia, and defending champions, France.
Tough group.
Do you think it's a tough group?
Tough group. I mean, any team that's in the same group as the defending champions has a lot to play for, you know? And I mean, you got the common World Cup teams like Australia.
Yeah.
You know, Denmark don't make it every year, but I mean, it's still a European nation with some like
dark
big
horses.
Stars.
Yeah.
You know, you never know what they can pull out, especially they had a really good Euro, 2020.
Yes.
So teams on form, good players in both teams. And I mean, Tunisia is still Tunisia at the end of the day.
Tunisia is still Tunisia. So going into this 2022 Qatar FIFA World Cup, the Carthage Eagles. I'm going to keep saying that until...
What is a Carthage Eagle?
I don't know. I think it's their national...
A species? It's
yeah,
like a bird.
Like a bird.
It's a Carthage, like a fish eagle.
Like a fish eagle. I think
Carthage
so. I think
eagle.
like that's their thing. Like they catch eagles.
Okay.
You know those people that like falcons or whatever. Or falcons aren't eagles. Okay, anyway. They're coming in not on bad form, right? At the beginning of the year, they got a new coach. That's after the African Cup of Nations where they went to the quarterfinals. Yeah. That's not bad.
Decent.
This is their 6th World Cup. But interesting fact, they have failed to get out of the group stages in every World Cup.
So not that great of performers in World Cup, but they've been in a number of World Cups.
They've been to World Cups.
6 World Cups. That means that you've been performing in a World Cup for the past, 24 years?
Yeah, like give or take.
Past 24 years, they've been, as long as some people have been alive, they've been participating in a FIFA World Cup. So that's kind of insane.
100%. They got to this year's World Cup by topping their qualifying group and then beating Mali 1-0 on aggregate to get to the World Cup. Tough for Mali, but great for Tunisia. And yeah, as we said, they are in Group D and their first game out was against Denmark. And this is the first time that they have faced each other in a World Cup.
Insane.
That is crazy. And I think the only other time these two countries have played against each other was in a friendly or something.
Yeah, it has to be international friendly.
Like before either of us were alive.
Years ago.
Definitely like years ago. And then they were the first African. So there's a lot of history.
Yeah.
So I know that Tunisia playing their first game against Denmark, there's a lot of storylines and there's a lot of history behind Tunisia as a nation within the FIFA World Cup legacy, right? So they were the first African nation to win a World Cup game ever. Well, World Cup match at a FIFA World Cup.
In the finals.
It was in 1978 where they beat Mexico 3-1, which is insane.
You remember 1978?
I wasn't alive in 1978.
Yeah, but what's a big thing that happened in 1978?
Tunisia beat Mexico in the first World Cup match.
Where was that World Cup held?
1978?
Probably Spain.
Do you think 1978?
I think it was Spain or Mexico.
I think it might have been Mexico.
I think it was, I think it was one of those two countries over there. I think Mexico was probably 82 then, or Spain 82. But yeah, I think it was one of those countries. Fact check us if we are wrong.
Fact check us. But I'm just saying, I think that's why, when we look at African football as a whole, North Africa holds a lot of our history. Because you have teams like Tunisia that are just...
In terms of, performing on the international stage, so...
Being a big hitter.
Because I mean, as we did say in the beginning of the episode, tough group, for them to perform in. But I remember from being a kid to now, I've always seen Tunisia at a FIFA World Cup.
100%.
You
always remember them.
When you don't see them, it's kind of weird, and it's not like a team that has the biggest of stars.
Yes.
They're always just a solid team with a solid group of players who like work together and put out performances. So yes, you are in the group with the world champions, but you still Tunisia, and we know what to expect from them.
Football heritage.
Football heritage.
Do you know it's like when you're in class, right? Tunisia is sort of like the favorite kid.
The favorite?
Like no matter what happens, they're always going to be elected class presidents.
Oh, their name is never on the board.
Their name is never on the board.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of likes them. They're always just there.
Popular one.
Very popular.
Jack of all trades.
A very well-known name. I think as a nation they'd do much better if a lot more players declared heritage.
To play for Tunisia and not for the countries over the sea. Yes. Yeah, no, facts.
That's 100%. But as I'm saying, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of storylines, there's a lot of really good players. One of the names to look out for is Yusuf
M-S-A-K-N-I. Msakani.
In South Africa, it's Msakani.
Msakani,
yeah. So why this is an interesting story is because he missed out on the 2018 World Cup because of injury.
Yeah.
A very notable fire Tunisian player, and it's a football family thing where apparently his dad and was in the national team 50 years ago, but then they didn't get to the World Cup, and it's taken this family 50 years to get someone into the national team in the World Cup.
So he's a legacy player.
He is a legacy player. So in 2018, he wasn't in the squad because of an injury, and then this year there was touch and go because he was injured, but then he finally made the team. So he is I don't think his club career has peaked the way Tunisian people have wanted it.
Yeah.
But he's at the World Cup.
At the end of the day, World Cup's a World Cup.
World Cup is a World Cup. They also have Kazri. Wabi Kazri, who's Tunisian top goal scorer.
Yeah, he's an all-time player. He's been around. I remember, big-time FIFA players, always had high-rated cards or whatever. But also if you watch Prem football, played at teams like Sunderland and such,
100%.
In the league, Saint Etienne. So big clubs, with a lot of football heritage, that he's played at. So he has some European experience. I feel like he's been around the Tunisian team for a long time, as you would say, top goal scorer for the national team.
Yeah.
So
there's
things are cooking slowly.
Tunisia has a lot of experience, but then they have a lot of youth. We know Hannibal with his golden locks in the team.
Highly rated player from a young age, and he's 19, I think. And he's starting to get some regular minutes with the Tunisian national team.
Yes.
So it's nice to see them bring a mix of youth as well as experience with the squad, taking them to a World Cup. And I feel like they're one of those teams where they're going to get solid performances.
Yes.
May not get results.
It's a tough group.
World Cup. Tough group, always get 3 points, but it's going to go down probably to the last match day for them, whether they're going to make it
where they make it or not.
It's not going to be everybody guaranteed 3 points against Tunisia. Yeah.
So talking about their first game in specific against Denmark, they did go into this game with Denmark being the favorites to win because they the dark horses for this World Cup. The game did end 0-0. It was this year's 2022 Qatar FIFA World Cup first goalless draw game, which was very interesting. Tunisia dominated the first half. They had a couple of saves. Kasper Schmeichel was out there doing Kasper Schmeichel things. But towards the end of the second half, there was a bit of a penalty scare. I think all the Tunisian fans kind of just
hearts dropped.
Yeah. But then the ref went to VAR and said no pen. So the game ended 0-0. Solid 1 point.
1 point game for Tunisia. I think in terms of Denmark's performance, maybe 1 point drop. But I mean, focusing on Tunisia's performance, solid start to a World Cup. A point gain is a point gain. You got 2 more games, either to pick up a point or pick up 3 points. You never know what can happen because the ball is round and football is played on grass, not on paper.
Not on paper. So I do agree with you. That is 1 point gained for Tunisia. The next 2 games isn't easy. Their next game is against Australia on Saturday, the 26th of November. I think they're hoping to pick up 3 points against Australia. 3 points.
Scoreline?
2-0.
I think it's going to be a draw.
Do you think another draw?
I think either a goalless draw or 1-1 draw. And then it's going to go down to a game against
France,
where, like, France, I think, aren't going to have the best of World Cups, and they're going to need a point against Tunisia, and the whole of Africa is going to be behind. Like, it's going to be storylines, you know. So it's going to go down to that last game.
I think, there's always, I think every country has a storyline, but Tunisia is a novel.
Yeah.
There's way too many stories. The Carthage Eagles are just out here trying to fly high into the sky. So but it was a good game against Denmark. It was an exciting game against Denmark, and I think there were a lot of positives for Tunisia to take out of that game. As I said, they will be playing their second Group D match against Australia on Saturday, 26th of November. 0-0 against Denmark, but we keep it moving. Drop a comment, let us know what you thought about Tunisia's performance. Against Denmark, what are your predictions against their second game against Australia? And will Tunisia make Africa proud and finally get out of the group stages?
Finally.
They've never gotten out of the group stages.
I hope so.
I think they've always had like bad luck draws.
Touch and go.
Touch and goes. So drop those comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It is all love. Until next time, we are the
Bench.
And this is the World Cup season.